Good morning. This is Robbie Burke at the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida with the 11 o'clock update on Hurricane Griffin. Hurricane Griffin is currently located near the central Bahamas with maximum sustained winds are now down to about 120 miles per hour. The storm has been moving near the central Bahamas at this point. We've had aircraft flying into the storm, and based on some of their measurements, it does look like the storm is nearing the end of an IOL replacement cycle. And because of that, the winds have actually decreased a little bit, as I said, to 120 miles per hour, but it is still a Category 3 storm on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale. The storm is currently centered about 180 miles to the southeast of Nassau in the Bahamas, and also about 360 miles to the southeast of Miami, Florida. It's moving to the northwest at about 12 miles per hour, and the current pressure is about 945 millibars. If we take a look at the forecast track of the storm, the current setup is that we have an upper-level low located near the Straits of Florida, and a mid-level ridge across the Atlantic Ocean. And what that is doing right now is steering the storm more or less to the northwest across the Bahamas. In the next couple of days, we expect that upper low to shift to the southeast and allow the ridge to force the storm more to the west across the central and southern Florida peninsula. Intensity-wise, like I said, the storm is nearing the end of an IOL replacement cycle, and there is a chance that in the next 12 to 24 hours, we could see a little bit more strengthening as the storm approaches the east coast of Florida. After it moves inland, we might see a little bit of weakening, but not much. And then once it moves back into the Gulf of Mexico, it does look like conditions will be extremely favorable for additional strengthening. So as the storm turns more to the north towards the Florida Peninsula, or Florida Panhandle, there is a good chance that we could see it re-strengthen to a major hurricane. Based on the current forecast track and intensity, this is our current setup of watches and warnings. We do have a hurricane warning out for the east coast of Florida from Sebastian Inlet southward to Flamingo, and that includes Lake Okeechobee and the Middle and Upper Keys. We have a tropical storm warning and a hurricane watch for the east coast of Florida from Sebastian Inlet northward to Flagler Beach. On the west coast of Florida, there's a tropical storm warning for the lower Keys. A hurricane watch is in effect from the middle of Longboat Key southward to Flamingo. And then we have a tropical storm watch up from the middle of Longboat Key northward to the mouth of the Suwannee River. We go ahead and take a look at some of the impacts that we're expecting from the storm. This is a graph showing the expected wind from Griffin. This is a plot of the tropical storm force wind speed probabilities, and as you can see, that most of the Florida Peninsula is covered by some sort of probability of tropical storm force winds. So it does look like that most of the peninsula will see some sort of effect from the storm. Highest chance for tropical storm force winds in this case would be from the central to southern part of the Florida Peninsula. If we go ahead and take a look at the hurricane force wind speed probabilities, you can see that based on the forecast track, we do expect the greatest chance of hurricane force winds to occur in the southern part of the peninsula, generally from about Lake Okeechobee southward. But there is still some chance of hurricane force winds even into central Florida and then up towards the Florida Panhandle. In addition to the wind, we are expecting a storm surge along the east coast of Florida of about 6 to 9 feet. We do expect that this storm surge could penetrate inland several miles from the coast. It won't just be along the immediate coastline. It is a large storm now that it has gone through an IOL replacement, so we do expect pretty copious amounts of rainfall. About 10 to 15 inches of rain could occur across the Florida Peninsula. With the 11 o'clock update on Hurricane Griffin, this is Robbie Burke at the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida.